every organ and every tissue in the body has a repair mechanism and is constantly repairing itself. Today we're going to talk about the lungs. Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Minke. This is Minke Wellness. And we've been doing a lot of our breathing system and kind of paying attention to the respiratory system this whole month. And today we're going to use our therapeutic breath system to encourage the repair mechanisms in the lungs and to encourage the body to build healthy lungs. Okay, this is kind of the concept we're going to engage in. And we've been doing our supplements we've been doing our Super C from Young Living and our Sulfurzyme, and those supplements get into our bloodstream. But if we eat good food, and we've been focusing on eating good food and flooding the body with nutrients, so we flood the body with all these good nutrients, and we get that oxygen into the bloodstream, and we get so all this wonderful stuff, this rich, healthy blood. But if that blood doesn't get to the lungs to help the lungs repair and build healthy lung tissue, then it's not doing its job. So what we're going to do today is really encourage the body to send the right set of nutrients that it needs to build these healthy lungs, okay? And we're using our therapeutic breath system, and by this time you're pretty good at breathing into the lungs, so I'm not going to get into I'm not spending the time to go into that. I'm just going to say, let's breathe into the left and just get an awareness, right? We're talking about the lungs, and now I want you to engage in breathing a little deeper from not just the lungs. Yesterday we did the lining. Now we're going to go deeper into the lung tissue, and we're going to engage again in that breathing and awareness into that the breath to blood connection. Okay, so we're going to breathe into the blood that's in the tissue, because it's this blood that carries all these nutrients and these good, this flood the body with nutrients is all there in the blood, and we want that to, and we're going to invite that to really build healthy lung tissue. So as we go in, so I'm going to breathe into the left, and I'm going to make that connection to the blood, into the actual fleshy part of the lung itself. Whole left side, now whole right side. Now this is just a connection breath. Now let's do a listening breath. We're going to start paying attention. It's like, is there any part of the lung that is just not feeling it? It's kind of weak, or it needs help? And so now I might use that imagery of rose bush or a calm water. In this case, I think a rose bush or some kind of your favorite tree or your favorite flower or your favorite bush. I'm going to pick a rose bush. And so I'm going to breathe in to my left lung, and I'm going to ask my left lung to talk to me through this imagery of a rose bush. Okay, so left lung, if you're a rose bush, I'm going to breathe in, and I'm going to imagine with that information that my consciousness gets, I'm going to imagine you're a rose bush, and I'm just talking about the left lung, and show me how it looks. Okay, so if you're really healthy, then give me that healthy image. If you're struggling, then let me know what that looks like. If you're not blooming, or if you have blight, or if you have the roots aren't strong, whatever the image is. So I'm going to breathe in a listening breath, and I'm just focusing on the left lung, and I'm going to ask for that image. Now, let's say you're doing this and I didn't get any image. Pretend you got an image. Okay, I know that we're going to push this a little bit, and it gets better and better as you do this. But I'm imposing, I'm asking for an image. So I'm pretending, if I had to draw it, what the image. So I'm making that listening breath, and I'm asking for that image, pretending that you get an image. So I see my left lung in this image of a flower, of a bush, a rose bush, and it doesn't have very many blooms. It's kind of spindly, actually. So I really want it to be vitalized. So now I'm going to breathe in those minerals that would be in this bush image. It would be coming in through the roots. So I'm going to give it good, strong roots. And this rose bush that's pulling minerals in, and that would, of course, be from the bloodstream. And I'm in healthy roots. So I'm going to give it healthy roots. Now I can feel that vitality and energy coming up through the roots and starting to build and strengthen. And it's kind of like a Disney cartoon and one of those animated movies where it's just happening. I'm imagining it just happening. So strengthy stems, and branches start to grow and healthy, and now blooms coming out all the way through the top, and fragrance And oh, beautiful, healthy lung on the left, okay? And so again, now I'm gonna do that one more time, and I'm gonna make a little more concrete image, and I'm gonna imagine all this vital nutrients that are in our bloodstream coming into my lung tissue and building that healthy lung tissue. Right, so once I have an image and I can kind of create that interface, that communication, then I'll go back and I'll just do it straight. I don't really need the image as much anymore because I've done this so much, but the image for me was very important to begin. Now I'm going to go over and do the right side. I'm actually, it's interesting, I'm actually feeling pain in the edges, and I think this is where some adhesions have occurred, in where the lining of the pleura and the lung and the pleura are adhered, and I'm feeling it more in the ribs and somewhere in the back. So as my lung is getting this nutrients and expanding, it is hitting, it's up against this area that it can't go any further because it's restricted. So this, you may actually encounter another layer of something to work on, and as we get better and better at therapeutic breath, you'll be able to work with that. But in this case, I'm just using one breath to touch those areas with my breath that are hurting, and go from there. And that's all I'm going to do. Now I'm going to switch over to the right, and again, give me that rose bush image, and I'm a listening breath into the right, and I'm going to ask, okay, right's right lung, if you're a rose bush, show me how it looks. Oh, interesting. So this one has a nice, good root structure and a thick trunk, but again, after that, it doesn't. It seems to kind of fizzle, and so just not very strong. Not a lot of because of a blockage. So I'm gonna really breathe through that blockage in the stem of the trunk of this or stem of this rose bush. So I'm gonna again keep the idea of these nutrients and minerals flowing up through the roots. And now I'm going to get through that blockage, action breath, and send all those nutrients up into that rose bush. And now I can feel that flushing out of, it's much bigger actually. It's much bigger. It seems much bigger and healthier in the right side. And all these, it goes way up here, and all these beautiful flowers. Okay, now I'm going to just take that image back to the physical body. And imagine the bloodstream, the very rich, healthy, wonderful supplement-enriched bloodstream going in and making healthy lung tissue. Okay, good. Now, I've got right and left. I want to integrate that, so I'm going to go ahead and breathe into the whole lungs and combine my image for my rose bush to be a whole lung. And I probably do have a left and a right in that image. But I feel that integrated and the whole rose bush being nice and healthy. Still the left side struggles a little bit, so I'm going to give it a little bit more boost for me. And when I say these things, this is not, I'm giving you what's a dialogue of what's happening with me, but you have a different dialogue. But I'm giving you that just to kind of give you permission to explore beyond what I'm just the few little things that I'm doing here. Now, we have two parts of the respiratory system. We have the upper respiratory system. So I want to do the same thing up in the sinuses. There's my lung and feeling that. And so I'm going to do the same thing in the sinuses. In this case, I might want to use an essential oil to help me connect to, use the spiciness of the oil to connect up in the sinuses. So I'm going to use my myrtle oil, and I find myrtle to be a lot more gentle. Yesterday we used the RC oil to make that connection down to the lungs, but I find the myrtle to be a little more gentle. So I'm going to use a couple, 3 drops of myrtle oil. This is Young Living myrtle essential oil, and breathe up into the sinuses, and I'm going to pay attention to my right sinus, and then left sinus. And I kind of feel like they go back here, but I don't think they go back that far. It's just all right up in here. I'm going to feel that there's sinus that go kind of up into behind the eye or up into that area. I don't know. It just feels like I go all the way back there. But it's kind of, there's some sinus in here, so I'm going to feel the cheeks. Okay, so there's, and I'm using the oil again. Gives me a much sort of more concrete, physical tingle into that, so I can feel that better. Okay, so now I've got increased my awareness, and again, I'm going to go and all tissue has repair mechanisms. All tissue has needs to be building healthy tissue all the time, and so I'm going to breathe in and invite that image of the rose bush for the sinuses. And I don't think I'm going to do left and right. I'm just going to go do one little bush. In fact, it doesn't feel like a rose bush. It feels like one of those box hedges or something. So what I'm saying is you can match the imagery for yourself however you like. So I'm going to breathe up into my sinuses. I'm going to feel that sort of box hedge kind of listening breath, and it's actually missing a big, it's kind of all dead in the middle. It's little spindly branches and all dead, and the kind of sides are both okay. So I'm going to breathe that action breath and breathe those, just that rich process of getting the blood to build up and build healthy sinus material, and the lining of the sinuses and all that. I'm going to go right up in the middle there. And actually it feels in this case, and this might be a situation where, again, the imagery just helps me, it actually feels damaged and that tissue, something's been injured. And so I'm going to imagine the tissue rebuilding and repairing, and so the middle of this bush actually starts to repair and get healthy, even though it looks dead in the image. So I'm going to not accept that image of being dead, and I'm going to say, okay, now I want it to repair and revitalize and come all the way through. So I'm going to breathe again. In this case, I'm talking about my sinuses. And I'm going to imagine that healthy stem structure, and then healthy leaves coming out and filling out that whole little hedge, that little box hedge. There we go. So it's just playing a mind game, and you could say, oh, this is just a bunch of hooey, and it's fine. It might not be doing anything. I've actually experienced that it does, but at the very least, I'm getting good deep breath for 10, 12 minutes here. So, and that gives me more oxygen for the rest of the day. So there's no downside to this, okay? You don't have to believe it, just try it, just work with it. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And I'll prove that to you. I want you to go ahead and breathe into your lungs right now. How much easier it is for you to connect with your lungs right with one breath, because you've already been doing it, for 3 weeks now. So everything gets a little easier. The more we practice, the easier it gets. You'll be much more in tune with this. Okay, so that's the sinuses. I'm going to integrate that whole. Okay, so this is the idea here that we've been engaging in encouraging the body to do its repair mechanisms, to help work on getting healthy tissue in the lung tissue and in the sinuses. And then, of course, we can invite the supplements that we've been doing that's in the bloodstream to help build healthy tissue. And that's all how that works together. As we get into this with other things, we'll get the food. I always invite my food to come into my bloodstream and to revitalize my body and build healthy tissue. And so we'll do a lot of that in the when we get to the digestive system, and we'll do some of that next month when we get into the blood, talk about blood and lymph. Okay, so that's our breathing for repair and building healthy tissue. Now next few days we're going to get into the emotional element. And we're going to start connecting to breathing and the emotional side, and this is where we really hit some of the love category stuff. So make sure you have your release oil nearby, and it might get a little rough, but so hang in there with me. You got to be brave. Okay, happy wellness.